I am finally starting to get out and do a little bit more regular thrift shopping in my area. Not every trip has been successful, but I have been able to find a few things here or there, and I have been able to make over a few of them as well as style a few things that were perfect just the way they were. And I was able to find a second piece of decor from a high-end store. This never happens to me, so if you want to find out what it is, please keep watching. Hey there, my name is Yami. I am your Latina next door. Welcome back to Mi Casa. For my first DIY, we're going to be using these thrifted lampshades, and I got each of these for $2.99. And I have actually had these for a little while. I'll confess, I absolutely love getting lampshades whenever I can because they can be very expensive. And these were a pair of similar ones, so I had to snag them for only $3 a piece. Now, if you remember, during last October, Nelson and I went to Nashville and we had a day of going to all the thrift stores. I found these lamps over there and they were $12.99 a piece, which was a little bit pricey for a thrift store. However, comparing them to lamps nowadays, they were a steal. And they were in perfect condition. I didn't have to do anything because I actually liked them just the way they were. And my oldest daughter needed a couple of lamps for her bedroom, and I thought these were perfect. And I was also very lucky that when I brought them home, she liked them as well because sometimes it's hit or miss with teenagers. Now, while the lampshades were in great condition, they were not the right color. And I have this huge bolt of white duck cloth that I brought from my last house. And what I did was I created a pattern in order to create a pleating pattern around the entire surface of the lampshade. So I'm going to give it a makeover with some fabric that I basically already had on hand. Now, in order to go around the drum shade that's not particularly even, you need to have the bottom of the pattern a little bit wider than the top. This is definitely one of those very simple projects. However, it gets very tedious. So it helps to have something in the background. You're listening to your favorite show or podcast because it will get redundant. You will need quite a bit of these pleats. Now, in order to make these look really good, I did want to go the extra step and I wanted to iron those pleats, giving them a nice crisp edge. Now to start and to make sure I got a nice straight line, I used the seam that was already on the lampshade to put the very first one down. Then I only needed to continue this process by hot gluing the top and bottom of each pleat as I added it on. Now you don't need to worry about the unfinished edge of each pleat because when you add the new pleat on top of it, the new nice folded edge is going to go on top of the unfinished side of the previous pleat. And of course, you're going to repeat this again and again, trying to keep the spaces between the edges of the pleats even all the way around until you get back to your initial first pleat. Now, once you make it all the way around and back to the initial pleat, what you need to do is peel back the very first pleat that you did because you want to tuck in the very last pleat underneath the first one. This is going to give you a beautiful high-end finished look on your pleated lampshade. However, we do have to address the inside of them. We don't want any of those rough edges to be exposed. Now, what you want to do is fold over the top as well as the bottom. Make sure you hot glue it down securely. Next, I took a long piece of that same material and basically made bias tape, where you have one long rectangular piece and you fold both of the bad edges inward and then fold it onto itself so that you have a very nice folded edge on one side and then two folded edges on the other side. So what I did was I did the single folded edge facing the top of the lamp. And as you can see here, I am hot gluing it down and putting it throughout the edges of those unfinished pieces that were rolled over and kind of tucked underneath the lampshade. I did the same thing to the bottom edges, only using a thicker bias tape. Doing this extra step really takes your DIY to the next level. It doesn't look like it's been handmade. And honestly, it's these attention to details that take something from a craft to an actual beautiful project for your home. This next one does not require any DIYing because it was perfect just the way it is. I saw this little bowl. It looked like it's handmade with the initials under the bottom, and it is just a beautiful piece of pottery that someone created, and I could not pass it up for only $3.99. And honestly, I love a good DIY project, but it's great to find unique pieces like this that all you have to do is clean them up and put them in your home. All right, this next one is my super lucky find. I kept seeing this piece on a shelf and it just caught my eye. I passed it a couple times before I picked it up, and it was this beautiful bone frame. Nothing wrong with it for only $2.99. And lo and behold, when I took it apart in my house, it said it was from Pottery Barn. And guess what? I found it online. And this particular one goes for $49.50. And this time, instead of buying a print from Etsy, I wanted to share what you can do on ChatGPT with an image that you may already have on hand. Now, I took this really rough picture of my house and I had ChatGPT add landscaping and trees and make it look like an oil painting. I even asked to give me a watercolor option. Next, I just downloaded and then I printed them off on my printer on some cardstock. Now from here you can leave as is, or you can do the Mod Podge trick and paint it with Mod Podge to make it look like an oil painting. This time around I will be leaving it as is and I will be including the glass in front of it. However, for the final shots to share with you all, I did remove the glass so that there would be no glare when you saw the finished product. All right, so this next one, I did not even hesitate when I saw it on the shelf. This was a $5.99, and I can't remember if it was 50% off this day. Now, I have seen some very similar lanterns like this that are of this scale in high-end stores online, and they can get very expensive. And since I have a back outdoor patio area that I want to fix up for this summer, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to have a project like this for the outdoors. And all I basically did was wipe it off. It had a little bit of dust on it. So after I cleaned it, I took some antiquing wax and I watered it down. While some people might like the weathered look, I'm kind of trying to stay away from the very cold, gray, neutral colors, and I'm trying to warm things up. I'm really enjoying warmer wood tones. So just adding a little bit of antiquing wax, watering it down, and then brushing it on made this lantern look so different so quickly. Now, once it was painted and completely dry, the only thing left to do was to add a glass hurricane in the center as well as a candle, and here is how it turned out. Now, this next one is a similar concept, but much smaller in scale. And one of the things that I really want to do in my back patio is bring in different lantern sizes and shapes and just create little clusters of lanterns everywhere. So when I saw this one, I thought it was super cute and I picked it up as well. Now, this was a fairly simple and straightforward DIY. I cleaned it up and I removed the little battery operated candle that was in it. It does need a new battery because the flame is a little weak. Then all I did was add some primer, spray paint, let it dry, and then come in with some champagne bronze spray paint. And I always start spray painting my projects from the bottom. That way, once I do the final rundown of spray paint, it's at the top and it has the nicest and cleanest finish. This next one was such a cute little find. I love the shape of this vase. However, I am not a fan of the color. And this was actually $5.99 at the date that I bought it, but it was half off for orange that day. So it only cost me $3. Of course, the first thing I always do with any of these projects is clean them up with an alcohol solution. I do half alcohol, half water. Once everything was clean and dry, I took it outside and began to prime it. And like I've mentioned before, I always start with my projects upside down so that when I flip them, I get the best finish. Now for this, I'm only doing primer before I take it inside. Lately, you've known that I have been kind of on a trip of just creating some beautiful antique vases and just stuff that really looks like it's aged. And this one's going to be no different. However, I am going to switch courses, and instead of doing something neutral, I am going to be using the color Skeleton Key from DIY Paint. It is a gorgeous grayish, cloudy blue. I can't even describe it, but I was so excited to use it on this project because I knew it was going to be perfect because my inspiration comes from Serena and Lily, and I just think it's going to look so good in the end. So what I'm doing here is I am going to be adding a full layer of this blue paint all over. I want to make sure that I get everywhere on it because I do want a nice strong base. Now I did kind of go back and make sure that I added blue in some areas that I knew I had missed. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, but again, I did want to make sure that it has a nice blue base coat and it was nice and dry. Next, I go in with a brush and some white wax. You guys know I've been on a kick with this white wax as well, and this project was going to be no exception. I added white wax through all of the nooks and crevices, making sure I got into every little detail. Now, despite this looking old and vintage, I did want to keep the finish rather smooth. So instead of accumulating a lot of different layers or adding baking soda, I was just keeping everything nice and in its own medium. Now, as far as how I apply the wax, I wanted it to go around the vase instead of kind of like in very many different directions. So the strokes, as you see here, are all going in the same direction. And then I'm just wiping different areas off to give it a varied look. Once I was satisfied with how everything was looking, I added some clear wax to seal it all, and here is how it turned out. Now this next one I've had for a little while. I just unpacked it and it did come from a clearance bin from Hobby Lobby. And I've used it like this in the past, but it was looking a little bit, dingy and it could definitely use a little bit of sprucing up, of course. So I decided to take some of my European gold rub and buff and began applying it all over just to give it a little bit of an extra, detail and just kind of make it look a little bit more elevated. Now, this is one of those projects where you can add as much rub and buff as you want or as little. I decided to make the cross a little bit more solid, but as I kept going down further to the bottom base of it, I actually left it a little bit more rustic and didn't fill it in as much, but I kind of like it that way. And of course, at the very, very base where it was black, all I did was add gold to all the little highlights. That way there was that nice contrast of black and gold in the end. And lastly, I found this other piece of pottery that did not need anything to be done. It was actually made in Germany. It was only $3.99 and it was perfect for my basil plant in my kitchen. I love having fresh basil and I thought this was the perfect pot to put it in. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below which one of these ideas or DIYs was your favorite. I'll be back next week with more videos on our farmhouse as well as more DIYs. So make sure you stick around by subscribing, and I'll see you guys very soon. Until then, adios.